My name is Tajib Loganathan, and me and my group are going to be presenting about deforestation. So what I'll be presenting about today is what deforestation really is and also its effects on Earth's primary spheres. So let's start off with the definition. What is deforestation? Well, as simple as it is, it's just the removal of trees or forest as a whole, and it's basically done to create a different use of the land, which could be for farms, the installation of a new city, or simply just a playground. So that's basically the definition. So if we move on to the impacts, deforestation can have many negative impacts on Earth's four primary spheres, mainly the atmosphere, the lithosphere, the biosphere, and also the hydrosphere. So if we start with the atmosphere, which is our gaseous part of the Earth, deforestation can have a negative impact basically on oxygen that we breathe in. So if we all know that if we talk about one tree, trees basically take in carbon dioxide, which we breathe out, and turns it into oxygen that is released out to the atmosphere for us to breathe in. So if we remove one tree, we remove a percentage of oxygen that we breathe in. So if we take out a lot of trees, we remove a lot of oxygen that can be potentially released to the atmosphere for us to breathe in. And roughly, actually, per year, around 15 billion trees are removed. So that's 15 billion times a percentage of oxygen is removed from the atmosphere. So if we talk about the lithosphere, which is a solid Earth, deforestation can have an impact on that as well, in terms of the soil that can be exposed to the surface. So if we basically take out a tree, we basically expose that fertile soil to the surface, which after it can be eroded to the water actually, and also once the soil is exposed to the surface, it's more likely that it will be transported around the land, which can basically prevent new trees to form on that area of the land, because the fertile soil is transported away from the area where it was originally from. So at that area, the tree would never be grown again, because fertile soil is wiped out. So that's how it affects the solid Earth. So if we're talking about the biosphere, which is the living organisms, as I mentioned before, it does have a great impact on us, because it removes deforestation can cause obviously lower oxygen in the atmosphere, and also because of lower oxygen, there's going to be a net increase in carbon dioxide, which if we go back to the atmosphere, this can create more carbon dioxide in the atmosphere, which can cause obviously climate change. And then for the hydrosphere, I mentioned this before, is it's when soil is eroded and is transported by rain or snow, it gets carried out to the nearby rivers. If the rivers collect the soil, it can be harmful for the aquatic environment, because the soil can increase the opacity of the water, and also the breathing quality of the aquatic animals, which can be greatly impacted negatively.
Hi everyone, my name is Harpreet Baines, and for my segment on the podcast for deforestation, I'll be talking about the long-term effects and impacts that deforestation has on the environment. So, to start off, I will say that the impact of deforestation has been greatly accelerated by human interaction. I will also say that I think that this is the main acceleration to deforestation, because I can't necessarily think of other ways that deforestation could commonly occur besides, let's say, natural disasters. But natural disasters also are accelerated by human interaction. Therefore, they wouldn't be as severe and they wouldn't be as common if we didn't, interact with the environment as we do nowadays. And so I don't think deforestation would be that common without humans. And this also adds on to my next point, because during the early 1960s is when the simulation of deforestation increased, and this caused an insane negative chain reaction of effects. And I will say, understand that, the war ended in 1945, the economy was suffering. So 1960 is a time where people wanted to help the environment. Sorry, they wanted to help the economy, not the environment, which is what I'm trying to get at. The economy came before the environment. And this also adds on to my next point. So, from an economic perspective, the idea of deforestation is to create space for property, create space for companies and businesses. And these are obviously, going to impact the economy and the environment, but the economy in a positive way, the environment in a negative way. And I will say that from a more logical and environmental perspective, by doing this, it is very damaging to the environment and to the planet in general and long term. And this is like obvious. People tend to neglect the fact that if you put the economy before the environment, you are actually going to get rid of so many resources, so many nutrients and viable sources that humans need to live life. By putting the economy first, you are basically putting the needs of, people that like are richer. I don't want to get too political here, but by doing this, you're basically saying that humans who are not rich, who are not wealthy, do not matter as much, because most of the negative impacts that, these different environmental factors such as deforestation has will affect the people who are not as wealthy, because they are the ones that are dealing with it first. And you may say, okay, if you're moving a rainforest from one land, that it's going to be okay, just bothering them. It's not going to affect the rest of the world. But even managing to disturb one land, such as like the Amazon rainforest, we get rid of the Amazon rainforest and we have literally moved like an insane amount of resources that the rest of the world needs. And it would also just disturb the planet. Like, there's literally no way to explain it besides that that would be one of the worst ideas that humans have ever thought of. And I will say that deforestation has contributed to 17% of greenhouse gas emissions, and this was stated in a 2010 congressional study. You may say that 17% is a small percentage, but this is 17% out of numerous other factors that play a major detrimental role on the environment. I would just like to add that it would have less of a negative impact on human race. I know people, they want to see another version of themselves. So they want, family, they want kids, and they want to, further their lineage. This is going to be highly unlikely if we still manage to ruin the environment, because, there's going to be less resources for kids. Population is going to die off, and the environment in general will be basically unlivable. So there are many ways that we could try to avoid deforestation, but it's considered that we're living in 2021. The economy is put first, and so is the concept of money. So that is how I'm going to end my segment here. I will say that deforestation, as I've said numerous times, negatively impacts the environment, but it is the human race that manages to accelerate this interaction.
Hello everyone, my name is Zach. By now, hopefully, we understand how essential trees are for making life on Earth. Without trees, there would be no life on Earth because we cannot create oxygen without them, like previously mentioned. Not only do trees improve the air quality, they help with the conservation of water, preserving soil from erosion, and providing habitat for 80% of Earth's land species. This is why the conservation of forests is so important. But how can we protect them? Mainly, there's 3 important things that can go into protecting our forests. First is by creating ethical logging standards. These standards need to be met all around the world because humans are cutting faster than trees can grow. The second factor is making sure the government enforce their regulations so excessive logging does not occur and so future generations can participate in the practice of harvesting timber. Lastly is bringing more public awareness to deforestation. However, it's necessary for individuals to make little changes in their life to reduce their own personal use of forest products. So when the next time you decide to go to the grocery store, remember to bring your own reusable bag for the tree's sake.